I'm going to go ahead and press record just to let everyone know who is has connected. We are recording this, but your video does not show up unless you choose to show your video. Your name never shows up even if you choose to speak. So keep that in mind. We'll try to keep it as private as possible. But for those connecting, you can feel free to show your video or not. Feel free to unmute yourself to talk before we get started, or use the chat if you prefer that. Just wanted to check in with everyone, see how they're doing on this Monday morning. If you've never joined our mindfulness group, we like to start out and see how everyone's doing, and maybe get an idea for what you're needing in this moment for today. If you've never done meditation, we do guided visualization meditation. So you follow the sound of my voice, and we kind of take you on a journey, and you imagine, based on what I'm saying, this relaxation kind of journey that we'll go on, depending on the theme that we all kind of decide on together today. So depending on what you're going through, what you're dealing with, I can give you some general ideas of potential meditation themes. We can deal with things like just overwhelm and stress, but also dealing with self-esteem, perfectionism, anger, setting intentions. Let's see, we've got so much to choose from. So it just kind of depends. Fears of rejection or failure. We still have a couple of people joining in, so I may repeat myself a little bit. Just wanting to check in with everyone to see how you're doing. We're gonna work together to choose a theme for today's meditation. So if you're just joining us, you feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat to tell us what you're going through and maybe what you'd like to work on today. Again, things like dealing with procrastination, fears of failure, rejection, loneliness, anger, stress and overwhelm, self-esteem, setting goals or intentions, grief. We had someone last week who connected who was struggling with grief, so I thought that would be an option for today as well. And grief and loss come in so many forms. If that's something that we decide on today, it may not be death of a loved one, although it could be the ending of a relationship, a lot of the loss that surrounds our current COVID situation, that our daily lifestyles that have been kind of uprooted, expectations and things we like to do that we're not able to do right now. So the loss of that normal life, whatever normal is. Loss of just a transition that you're going through. It could be job loss. It could be you're making a decision about something. And even if it's a good decision and a good choice that you're making for yourself, you also are leaving behind this former self and this former life and the way our lives go. So just let me know where you are, how you're feeling, what you're thinking you might want to work on today. Almost anything we do is going to be relaxing and help with stress, of course. And I imagine a lot of us end up needing whatever it is that comes up for us in these moments of shared connection. But we have quite a few here today, so I'm glad to see that. It is being recorded, just to repeat for those who are just joining us, but your video you do not have to have on, and only if you speak will your video show up. You can unmute yourself to speak, but your name does not show up. And you can feel free to use the chat if you like to just tell us how you're doing this morning, and if we have any common themes, we can choose what direction to go today. But in the meantime, just enjoy the music. Can everybody hear the music okay? Okay. And if nothing else, just good morning, good Monday morning. I'm trying to say that to myself. If I say it, it will come, right? It'll be a good morning. Good morning, Candace. Everybody say it to yourselves. Say it out loud. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know if this is a sunset or a sunrise in this image, but maybe it'll feel good. Hey, Yolanda.
Hi, everyone.
I didn't realize that was you. Your letters on your thing. I just didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, they changed my sign in for our AIM system,
Yourself,
so
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a different name. Price me.
See if I can see it better. No, maybe a little.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. I was working on my lighting.
Well, everyone just get in your zone of being ready to just relax, get in the mindset of preparing yourself to go on a little visual journey in your mind. Since nobody's really said anything specific about what they're needing, I think I will try to do one on dealing with grief and loss, since we had someone last week going through that. And since these get recorded, we can post to our YouTube channel, and that person may be able to access it if she's not here today. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I want you to just find a relaxed position wherever you are, whether you're sitting in a chair or lying down, as we set aside these few moments to relax and reconnect with ourselves and the world around us, return to ourselves a little bit, and to give ourselves something we need just for us, right? Let go of all the stuff we do and all the people we take care of. We're here to take care of ourselves too, and we need that. And that is not selfish. That's a good thing. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so first I'd like to just talk a bit about the different forms of losses that we can go through. Grief can result from a variety of types of losses. Some kinds of losses are easy to recognize, which could be something like the death of a loved one, or divorce, or relationship breakup, or loss of a job. Other types of losses are a lot more difficult to deal with, maybe less well understood. Sometimes we don't even realize that's what we're going through. It's especially difficult if it's a relationship but the person is still around. How do you truly understand that as a loss? It can be a loss of a pet, relocation, if we're moving for good reasons, but we leave our former life behind. Some people struggle with chronic illness, so just the day-to-day challenges of, today I could walk okay, and tomorrow I may not be able to, and that can work out that way. Just any other event that changes our life plans, sometimes in expected ways, sometimes unexpectedly. The unexpected ones are a different kind of challenge for sure. So it can be experienced in both negative and positive events. Any event may be positive overall, like getting a promotion at work that you were hoping for, graduation, having a child, and still be associated with a type of loss. Loss of what is familiar, loss of the old way of living. Any sort of change can be associated with feelings of loss, and change is hard for us as humans. Perhaps you're dealing with a change that's reasonably positive in your life, and your grief is relatively simple to deal with. Maybe you're coping with a significant loss and you're going through a really challenging grieving process right now. Maybe you've experienced a huge loss that has profoundly changed your life, and you're having difficulty dealing with grief. Whatever your situation, your grief is real, and your loss is important. Though you need time and solitude to come to terms with the loss you've experienced, it's also important to accept support from others. Reaching out to someone who can offer you support. You might want to call a friend, even if you haven't spoken in a while. It's okay to ask for what you need. Often people don't know how to support you, and they feel relieved if you ask them for something specific. Ask for help. Even if it's just calling a friend and asking to eat a meal together. Any small act of support can help you feel less alone. You may also find it therapeutic to journal about what you're grieving, this loss that you're dealing with. Before thinking about your loss and beginning the process of dealing with grief, I'm going to start by just relaxing right now. Close your eyes. Just sit quietly or lie down quietly if you're lying down. You don't need to do anything in particular. Just take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, feel your body sinking into the surface that you're on. Breathe slowly in and out. In and out. Keep breathing slowly and calmly, letting your breathing relax you. Imagine that your body is a fleece blanket. Imagine that the blanket is dipped into warm water. Imagine how it would feel to be floating, suspended in warm water. Gentle waves moving your body. Now picture being lifted out of the water. The heaviness of the water stretching the blanket. Stretching your body. You're so very tall. Imagine that the blanket is placed on a warm concrete surface in the sun. Imagine how it would feel to be this blanket. So warm and heavy, completely limp. Steam rises from your body, warmed from beneath by the warm concrete, warmed from above by the sun. Imagine how it would feel to be this damp blanket and have the water slowly evaporating, becoming lighter and lighter, steam rising, carrying the water away. Feel your whole body becoming lighter, relaxed, totally limp. Let your body become relaxed, completely relaxed, so calm, so serene. Now that you're starting to feel more relaxed, let's focus on dealing with the sense of grief and loss that we may be struggling with. Dealing with grief is very tiring. You may have been feeling tired, stressed, and burned out recently. And this may be caused by the grief process. It is normal to be short-tempered and have problems with memory and concentration. These symptoms of dealing with grief can be troubling, but they are normal, and they will go away. You will gradually get back to feeling like yourself. Right now, you are healing. The process of dealing with grief is similar to the process of recovering from a physical injury. When an injury occurs, the body needs time to heal and recover. Dealing with grief is no different. The mind needs time to recover and heal. You need the time to cope and deal with grief. Be kind to yourself and give yourself this needed time. Sometimes people who are dealing with grief feel like they're going crazy. You are not going crazy. What you are going through is normal and natural. There are several stages of grief, and it's normal to experience these stages, many of them more than once, in no particular order. It's normal to experience numbness, a time where you do not feel much at all. This does not mean that you are insensitive or you don't care. Rather, it's the mind's way of protecting you and a normal way of processing traumatic experience such as loss. Numbness and shock are a normal reaction to loss. A Another stage you may experience is anger. You may find that you are angry, frustrated, upset. It's okay to be angry when you lose something that's important to you. Angry toward the person or thing you lost. Angry at the world, at the causes of your loss. You may even feel angry toward others who have not been through what you have. Not all of anger is rational, and that's because you're grieving. People who are dealing with grief do not always think rationally. Your thinking will become more clear as you cope with grief. The passage of time will help to decrease the irrational thoughts and the extreme anger. You'll probably go through a stage of questioning, wondering why, trying to get answers. It can be hard to understand why losses happen. As part of the process of dealing with grief, you may seek answers as to why the loss happened and try to make sense of what has occurred. You may find yourself bargaining, trying to make deals with others, with yourself, or with God or another higher being, or try to make things go back to the way they were before the loss happened. Questioning and bargaining are normal parts of dealing with grief. Another stage in dealing with grief is a stage of loneliness and sadness. This is a time of low energy, feeling slowed down, sad, maybe even depressed. During this time, it is hard to focus and concentrate. You experience memory problems, sometimes feel confused, distracted, have difficulty sleeping, like you are not yourself. It's normal to feel this way because you're grieving. It's okay to feel sad and upset when you experience loss. These feelings can be very intense and painful. While you are getting through this pain, remember that it will gradually decrease as you heal. Even though it may feel like the sadness will go on, maybe forever, you will not feel this way forever. Acceptance is another stage of grief. During this stage, you begin to recreate a new life in the aftermath of the loss you've experienced. You begin to accept that things have changed. Your life is different. Maybe not better, maybe not worse, just different. Acceptance is the act of coming to the realization that the loss has occurred, but you can move on. It's normal to proceed through these stages of grief in a non-linear order. There's no order to loss, no order to grief. You may experience acceptance and then return to anger. It's okay to be wherever you are. It's okay to ask questions and to feel upset. You have the right to grieve. And you can get through this. You will feel better. And you will make a new life. Your new life may be different than the life you had planned, but you cannot always plan for losses. It's okay to experience a variety of emotions. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel relief. And you still do care, even if you feel relieved in some ways. It's part of that letting go process. It's okay to feel guilty. It's okay to feel impatient, to get upset at things that seem small and insignificant. You're going through a hard time, and a confusing mix of feelings is completely normal. This is the human experience of grief. You are coping. You are dealing with grief. And you will come out on the other side stronger. You did not deserve this loss. It is not your fault. You are dealing with a situation that is challenging, difficult, perhaps devastating, and you cannot be expected to be over this immediately. There may not be any reason why things happen this way. Many of the things that happen in life do not make sense. You can grow and become stronger as a result of these challenges, even Even though there is no good explanation as to why you had to go through such difficult times. Even after you have dealt with the grief, you will have times where you feel like you are right back where you started, like you've not healed at all. This is normal. Everyone has their own way of going through the process of dealing with grief and loss. You do not need to grieve in a particular way. Do whatever is right for you. You can cry or not, be more busy or less busy. Grieve in your own way. Though you need time and solitude to come to terms with the loss you have experienced, it's also important to accept support from others. Reach out to someone who can offer you support. You might want to call a friend, even if you haven't spoken in a while. It's okay to ask for what you need. Often people do not know how to support you, and they feel relieved if you ask for something from them, something specific. Tell them what you need. They want to help. Ask for help. You may even want to seek out others who are dealing with grief, to find support from people who can relate to what you are going through. You can find support groups like this, just reconnecting with these core human experiences that we all go through from time to time. Allow yourself the time you need to grieve. Sit with it. Push through it. Let it go through you. Move through you. And all the while taking good care of yourself. Eat well. Get exercise. Try to keep a regular sleep schedule. You need the strength. Now, if you want to, you can take a moment just to be with the feelings you have. Just to allow the grief, face the emotions, and accept that you are grieving. You feel loss. This is where you are, what you are going through. Just feel it. Just relax and breathe deeply. Just go with the emotions you have and experience the grief. Do whatever feels right for you right now. And now we'll finish up with some relaxation to allow you to get a break from the grief you're going through. Focus on your breathing for a few moments, breathing slowly in and out, in and out, slowly breathing, relaxing. Create a picture in your mind, imagining a peaceful place where you have no worries. You may picture a comfortable room, quiet, peaceful. Imagine that the room is warm and has a comfortable place to sit or lie down where you can relax. Imagine sitting or lying down, maybe on a pile of soft pillows, releasing all your worries with a sigh. In this room, you have no cares, no worries, no problems, nothing to worry about or think about at all. This is a place where you can completely relax. You can take a break here, even just for a few moments, to get away from all of the stress and tension. Picture this room in your mind. What does the room look like? Create a detailed image of this room in your mind. So comfortable, complete serenity. You can return to this room in your imagination when you need a break, wherever you need to relax. Whenever things get difficult and you just need a rest, you can picture this room in your mind. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Hold for a count of 4. And slowly exhale for a count of 6. You may want to reawaken right now or drift off to sleep. I'll count now from 5 to 1. If you decide to wake up, let yourself become more and more awake with each number until at 1, you're fully awake and alert. If you decide to sleep, become sleepier with each number until at 1, you're deeply asleep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you are awake, open your eyes, maybe move around, wiggle your fingers and toes, and just kind of stretch if you need to. like, let me know how you're feeling. What was that like for you? Either unmute yourself or use the chat. Hey, Yolanda.
Hey, I can share.
Sure.
You did ask us to share, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it really did help me realize that I had some things that I was grieving and that I also needed to grieve. And when I think your opening statement, you said that your grief is real, you know, and it takes time and solitude. So that really stood out to me. And just walking through the meditation and the guides and the prompts that you gave, like even now, I feel much more relaxed and I'm in that place of acceptance. Like, yeah, you have the right to grieve that. So it was really, really helpful for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's something to the fact that we do need solitude, even though we're feeling so lonely in
Yeah,
those moments.
yeah,
We need all that feeling.
yes,
The more we resist it, the more painful it is, and the harder it is to actually go through the healing process.
that
Allow
is so true.
loneliness, allow grief, allow anger, allow it all, right?
Yeah, that is so true. Don't, resisting because we don't really understand. Well, because I didn't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, well, I shouldn't be feeling like this. But if it's the way you feel, then it's just the way that you feel.
Yeah, we shouldn't, I mean, we do judge our feelings, but
Hmm.
we need to try to not judge them because we are humans, and that means we feel every possible emotion under the sun, and often we don't understand why, and that resistance makes it difficult.
Yes, yes, it does.
And there's the guilt that comes with anger when you feel sadness,
Yeah,
those conflicting emotions. So just
yeah,
allowing that and accepting that will allow it to move through you, and it needs to move through. If we keep blocking it, that's where it blocks our healing.
it does. And the takeaway I have that I got is that, our emotions are indicators of
Mm-hmm.
what we need to deal with.
Indicators, yes. It's just usually something wants our attention,
Hmm.
and we need to take heed of that. There's maybe some need in place that we're avoiding going to deal with, but they are information, they're data.
Hmm.
We need to do something differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we have Candace in our chats saying it gave me a level of relaxation and also a perspective of understanding for my children that may be grieving the loss of normal school. Oh, so true. We're dealing with our change, but they're dealing with it too, and they don't have the same level of insight that we as adults might have. And so understanding how they deal with loss without understanding that's what they're feeling. This is a really good teaching moment for all of us, I think, children and our adult, or parents too. Another idea to consider is the idea of ambiguous loss, where we really don't know what it is that we are grieving. And that's super confusing. And obviously the children maybe are glad they don't have to go to school, but then they start missing it. But then there's that conflict there. And if I feel a struggle that I'm working from home and I don't have the separation of I leave and then I come home to relax, what do children feel? If I don't go leave to go do my schoolwork and take things seriously and then come home and play or whatever, or see the same friends, there's that loss too. We don't get to see all the same people. But it's very confusing too, that ambiguity of it. Well, I appreciate everyone being here. We will be here next week again. Think about what you might want to work with next week, depending on what comes up over the week. And we will be uploading this to our YouTube channel, so watch out for that. I appreciate, again, all you being here. Take good care of yourself, to bring in your week with some strength and insight and just calm and perspective. So I appreciate you sharing this moment with me. And if you need anything, counseling@lsus.edu. You can contact us there. Thank you again. Have a good week.